I'll take one more person from each side. So right now, I'd ask Representative Tom Taylor if he would come and take the microphone, please, sir. And Pam, you're next. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Just want to switch gears a little bit with you here. I'm generally in favor of citihoods. I'm not going to speak for or against either one here. I just wanted to put some food for thought out there. I'm the only elected representative down here who has been through the cityhood effort from concept through legislation, through implementing a city and actually ramping up service. So I just want to throw a couple things out to the committee for thought, as well as the folks in this room, just as you go down the process to keep in mind. This is hard. If you get a bill passed, that does not mean you get a city. You have to get a referendum passed. And to that, I would address the committee to look at the charters if this comes to an agreement and proceeds, have enough length of time between when the bill is passed and the charter is voted on in a referendum for people in the area to digest it. That, is a process that a lot of the community can't digest in a couple of months. If you passed a charter in March and had a referendum in May, I think that could be problematic. Again, service levels. You have a question? Okay. Just so that. Also, I don't know if either one of these cityhood bills has a sponsor yet, and I don't know if the committee would like to see, to see a sponsor identified. Yeah. Okay. The CVI updates are critical, as Mr. Hamilton said, and Ms. Oliver and Mr. Mosby were on the committee as the Dunwoody thing was going through, and heard that for about 3 years. We had to update our figures. When people vote on this, they need to have the latest information available, pro or con, and with all the warts and everything. You can't sugarcoat it. The last thing I'll say is you have to, next to the last thing I'll say, is it's going to require the community to raise private money to do these CVI updates. When we did it, we had to go back and spend another $15,000, and it's up to these committees to go ahead and raise that. That money is probably not forthcoming from the state, I would guess. No. So the last thing is the matrix of services. And I'm particularly addressing this to Tucker. You may want to reconsider, and the reason is, in my experience, yes, you will receive services from DeKalb County if you become a city. They are not required to provide them under the same agreements now. You will have to negotiate every agreement. When Dunwoody became a city, we still received police services from DeKalb, but we paid over just about $500,000 a month in addition for those services, okay? So don't assume that the agreements in place now, when you become a city, are going to be the same. They have to be negotiated, and that's something to think about. Just want to close with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative. State your name, please, ma'am.
Okay, my name's Terry Cole. I live in Tucker. I live in the contested area. I'm just outside of 285, and I'll keep it short. I just want to talk about the fact that Tucker is about services, and so I'm actually excited about negotiating intergovernmental agreements. So I'm actually excited about negotiating intergovernmental agreements because it is a fiscally responsible way to do things. I mean, we'll be able to put new police on the street immediately, and we have $500,000 in reserves to pay for it. We don't have to ask people in our community to go into debt and issue bonds to do that.
But we paid over just about $500,000 a month in addition for those services, okay? So don't assume that the agreements in place now, when you become a city, are going to be the same. They have to be negotiated, and that's something to think about. Just want to close with that. Thank you.
That's our feasibility study, and again, I've heard all the questions about that today, but I don't think our feasibility study is going to change. So I'm excited about services, and we have been to community meetings, and that's what we've heard. We've also heard, interestingly, and with apologies to Representative Oliver and Mosby, I will say this. There's a large area of Republicans in this community, which is where this fiscal conservatism comes from. I mean, that is what we've heard is we don't want big government. We don't want another layer right away. We want you to be fiscally responsible, start small with room to grow. And they understand that that is absolutely the possibility that's before them. I will also say, for me personally, South DeKalb matters to me. Just because I happen to live in North DeKalb, I don't feel like I want to make sure that somehow all of my tax money doesn't go that way. I want to make sure they have a viable option. And to me, Tucker does the least harm, both to them and to others, because of our smaller startup. The question was asked, will Tucker go away? And for me personally, it will, because I live in Tucker. And if you make this change, I will live in an area I did not purchase my home. What I would ask you is, the decision to purchase a home is one of the biggest and most financially strapping one people make in their lifetime. That was a very, very deliberate decision for me. I ask that you please set the bar extremely high to undo that decision that I made. Thank you.